Welcome back. It is the Beyond Emissions podcast, brought to you by Solagent, your clean energy solution distributor. If you'd like to get anything for your clean energy needs, whether it's solar panels, inverters, racking, energy storage, EV chargers, as well as electrical balance of systems, we've got it all available right here at Solagent. You might not know this about us here at Solagent, sponsor of today's Beyond Emissions podcast. You might not know this about Solagent, but Solagent has been pioneering solar distribution since 1979. Also, as well, we're partnered in the family, if you will, with the Labor Group. City Electric Supply is also, we're co-owned. We're together. We're part of the same family. So we have lots of additional value to add. In addition to being able to leverage those great relationships that we have with manufacturers, et cetera, to provide you with the best pricing options available, to provide solutions for you and your customers. Also as well, we're connected under the same umbrella with our partners, our sister companies, if you will, CGen, Solar Distribution, and CEF, City Electric Factory, over in the UK, South Africa, and Europe. So we're worldwide. We have been pioneering solar distribution since 1979, and we're here to help you now to traverse all of whatever it is you need and challenges you may have in sourcing the right equipment, the right materials for your jobs. It's different than just going out there and you know, trying to find out what's the lowest price or what have it. You've really got to find great partnerships. What differentiates you? And that's what Solagent is here to help you with, and helping you to grow your business, in addition to free training and resources that you don't get elsewhere. So email me. I'm Josh Brum, host of the Beyond Emissions podcast, an energy storage manager here at Solagent. Email me for free training for your team. Get connected to these resources. storage@solagent.net. That's storage@solagent.net. Thank you so much for being here today, listening every single week here at the Solagent YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so when we have a new episode that comes out, you can listen to it. But of course, on demand, we have many, I think over 56, 57 episodes uploaded and available of the Beyond Emissions podcast. Experts from around the world, resources, expertise from everywhere. We have all sorts of folks on the show, experts from vendors. But believe it or not, you are our greatest resource, our customers, the folks that we work with. We learn from you just as much as you learn from us. So we have folks on that do business and partner with Solagent, and we're excited to have you back here again for a learning adventure. I was at the Florida Solar Plus Storage Expo, FLASIA, in Orlando this last week. And while I was there, had a chance to meet a lot of amazing people working in our industry. And I'm like, you know what? Mike Patterson from Empire Solar came by our booth and we got to talking. This guy's vision is amazing. Experience is amazing. Amazing company as well. Solar solutions built on trust. Go to empiresolar.us today to find out more about their company. Mike Patterson from Empire Solar, Chief Design Engineer with Empire Solar. Welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here.
Hey, you know, we met you in Florida. Is that because you're primarily based there? I know you're in Texas. I know your company as well is open to and considering expansion elsewhere. I mean, Empire Solar is growing, right, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're based out of the Tampa area in Florida. Obviously, we've got offices in Tampa and Orlando, and that is our headquarters, our largest market. We've expanded our footprint out to Texas now, and we have a team out there, as well as we can actually provide commercial coverage in all 50 states. Obviously, as long as the project is large enough to warrant sending our crews wherever they might need to be.
Now, is it becoming more of a because before it seemed like a real patchwork. This is going on in California, this is going on in Florida, this is going on in Texas, and it kind of all differs. Do you see the overall national market kind of pulling away from that patchwork and sort of kind of, becoming one big market? I mean, obviously with its own regional differences, but do you feel that kind of everyone's realities in all these different state markets are being kind of aligned in a sense?
I would honestly say I think it's diverging to two different directions. So you'll see, obviously what California did. You'll see what just got announced in Illinois and pulling away from that net metering model. But then on the flip side, you see what our governor here in Florida did 2 years ago to protect net metering. I believe Virginia just passed a law protecting net metering as a state law. So it kind of seems to be some places are embracing and protecting and fortifying their solar rights, and then some other places are pulling away and trying to make it a little bit less attractive, at least on the metering side, which can be a little concerning.
What are your homeowners looking for? What are their concerns? I mean, obviously, they see the rates going up, et cetera, but what kind of feedback are you getting from homeowners, customers on the ground?
Yeah, so we're especially in Florida, we're a little bit different, right? We don't go and try and sell $20 a month savings or anything like that, like the vast majority of the companies that frankly have really flooded the Florida market. We specialize in energy security, as we call it. So battery backup systems, smart home systems, trying to make everything integrated to secure the home, because we get a lot of nasty weather here. We've got hurricanes, we've got tropical thunderstorms almost on a daily basis for a quarter of the year. And combine that with the huge influx of people moving to Florida since COVID. We have these new subdivisions popping up on what used to be strawberry fields and orange groves, and putting thousands of houses on a grid that, quite frankly, is not being built up quick enough to handle that. And so we're seeing outages, get more frequent. We're seeing outages get more lengthy. At the same time that we're seeing homes drawing more, demanding more, being more reliant on electricity, not having a gas line to make a generator feasible. So really our number one customer, what draws them to us specifically is people looking to protect their families, fortify their homes, and be prepared for that next disaster.
Yeah, and energy storage, folks. I'm not just saying it because I'm the energy storage manager, the battery guy. I've been in battery distribution and sales since specializing in that since 2006. Batteries are what I breathe, and I can tell you this is the day, the moment that we've all been waiting for in the battery world, when the need would actually be there. The last thing in the world we want is the negative reason why we're needed, the outage, the hurricane, the natural disaster. But that peace of mind that energy storage can bring, that energy security. By the way, energy security available, empiresolar.us, solar solutions built on trust. And by the way, we appreciate the fact that you came by our booth and spent so much time with us the other day, Mike. That meant a lot to us and our Florida team. Thank you very much for that. But batteries, and more batteries. I used to host a radio show called the All Things Energy Storage Show. This isn't my first rodeo. And when I hosted that show, that was the opener. Batteries, and more batteries. Well, the reality is solar is still vital. It is the clean energy production source to produce that energy. But without storing it, especially with, intermittence, outage issues, natural disasters, you've got to have a fuel tank that can get you through that period of time, whether it's just in the evening to offset what you're not consuming during the day and consume that at night with your storage instead of buying it from the grid, or maybe it's emergency only outage, or maybe you're in Florida and like what Mike is talking about with his customers from Empire Solar. Again, empiresolar.us, go there today. They're great, amazing company. But energy security is rooted in energy storage. Finally, we're at the point where people are starting to get this right. Storage is the number one priority in a sense. Right, Mike?
Yeah, I think that the best testimonial we can get for that, and it's almost unfortunate, but every time we get a major event here, we get a big hurricane or we start getting a lot of brownouts like we got when people had to work from home a little bit during COVID. is we start seeing our referrals shoot through the roof because people see their neighbor who has their air conditioner running at 4 o'clock in July in Florida, where you almost can't live without that air conditioner. Meanwhile, every other house in the neighborhood is blacked out. They see that, but they don't hear a generator running. They don't see people running back and forth carrying gallons of gasoline to run a generator in their driveway. It's just automatic. And when neighbors see that, they inevitably come to us, and it spreads like a wildfire in the neighborhood. And there's really no better endorsement of the way these systems work than the amount of people who want to get these systems once they see them in action.
And folks, Mike Patterson with us, Chief Design. I think you're an engineer, right? Am I correct in saying that you're an engineer? That's something a lot of people, they call me an engineer. I'm not an engineer. I can speak the language and understand what's going on, but I'm not technically an engineer. But I digress. Empire Solar, Chief Design Engineer. We'll call you an engineer. Mike Patterson with us. You utilize, by the way, this is available at Solagent. So if you're a solar installer or a solar company, folks, we have Storz Power solutions available here at Solagent. But I want to talk about Storz Power. Phenomenal company. Phenomenal product. They use AI software that allows you to end up having basically a 25-year warranty for your battery system. That's an option. And it's fantastic because you've got some load management systems involved there. You've got some AI software. It's a smart system, basically. And the difference between that and like a Tesla or some of the other options that you might have heard about out there, folks, is the Storz Power option is not in big, huge increments, so you can custom size it to the exact amount of energy storage that someone needs. It comes included with a Solarc inverter. 15K provides whole home backup capability with the 200 amp internal transfer switch, the ability to have, I think it's 19 kW of PV array, can AC couple, DC couple, plug in a generator, off-grid, battery backup, functionality, limit to home use so you don't export, or you can sell back what you want. You can not sell back. You can do arbitrage, time of use, peak shaving. Goodness, did I miss anything? Storz Power available at Solagent. We offer it, but that's one of your leading brands right there at Empire Solar. Talk a little bit about, I know I probably ran through most of the benefits, but I know you're proud of it too, man. That's why you offer Storz Power to folks. So talk a little bit about that and the advantages over some of the other big brands that they normally hear about. You know, lithium iron phosphate, 40% more life expectancy than NMC chemistry that Tesla uses. Storz Power uses lithium iron phosphate, and it's safer. Talk a little bit about that. You love Storz Power, don't you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely my preferred option whenever we're starting from scratch. You know, we're building a system for someone who has nothing, or we're doing an add-on system because, like you said, it can be AC and DC coupled at the same time, which is pretty clever. But really what drew me to Storz to begin with is that they just have an outrageously high power output capability. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between power and energy. And those are our two primary factors when we're designing a system with a battery, an energy security system. So I like to make the analogy because most people understand a generator. The power is the size of your generator. It's how strong it is. What can it run in your house? The energy is the size of the gas tank. How long can you keep running that? The huge advantage with Storz is we get a very, very, very high power output with a relatively small battery, like you alluded to, when it's paired with that Solarc inverter. So what that means is I can go in and I can set up a whole home backup. I'm not limiting the home to a preset critical loads panel. I'm giving them access to run anything that they need in their home. And then I'm sizing the battery beyond that based on what they expect to run and how long they want to run it for and how long are we going to be without sunlight. Because remember, when the sun comes back up, that's like refilling your gas tank. It's recharging the battery. It's taking over the demand of the home during the daytime, getting that battery ready for the next cloudy period, the next stormy period, the next nighttime. But having that, modular design where I can decide for myself based off of your needs, okay, here's the battery size you need based off of energy, and know that in almost all cases, I'm going to, by default, have more than enough power output is huge because I can't emphasize enough. It saves us from limiting you in a backup. What a lot of people don't realize is a traditional battery backup with a critical loads panel, you're selecting a handful of breakers, and when the grid is down, that is all you have access to. It does not matter. It could be a perfectly sunny day. You could have a 20 kW solar array that's more than enough to power your entire home. But if you are on a critical loads panel and the grid is down, that transfer switch is shut off your main panel, and only those pre-selected breakers have energy. When I have the ability to provide energy to any breaker in that home, now we can go and incorporate things like load control and smart load management and set it up where, we're automatically rationing your energy to make sure that we don't run those batteries dry if the solar conditions are not ideal, but where you can shift your priorities in real time. An example I like to give for people, we get outages sometimes in rural Florida from a hurricane. You could be without power for 2 or 3 weeks from the grid. In the middle of the storm, your priorities are going to be more conservative. Your refrigerator, some lights, some fans, maybe an air conditioner. But most people don't really care about a water heater. They don't care about running their pool or their hot tub or, even electric cooking appliances. Well, when that outage drags on for 2 or 3 weeks and you look outside and it's a perfectly sunny day, wouldn't it be nice to be able to run your pool pump for a little bit so you don't end up with pea soup and have to start from scratch? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do some laundry? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to take a hot shower? We're giving people flexibility by using this newer generation of technology where everything ties together and we get that smart backup system rather than basically a battery version of a portable generator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the chemistry is different too, folks. There are other options available that, like Tesla, SolarEdge, Generac, all have nickel, manganese, cobalt, NMC chemistry. And its advantage is that it's more energy dense. Its disadvantage versus lithium iron phosphate, which is what Storz is, the products and solutions available here at Sologent. And of course, Empire Solar is offering Storz Power solutions to their homeowners. So very popular for a reason. But lithium iron phosphate has about 40% more life expectancy, more life cycles than NMC. So if you're buying it also not just for, the emergency power and emergency energy needed, that energy security that Mike Patterson was talking about, you might be also doing it for ROI, and longevity will matter in that equation. I think most people focus solely on the safety differences between nickel, manganese, cobalt, NMC, lithium chemistries versus lithium iron phosphate. And that's a huge difference there too. I mean, lithium iron phosphate, you don't have the same, it's not as conducive to thermal runaway and cascade failure events as NMC is, lithium iron phosphate. But that's normally the number one thing folks are looking at. But really the biggest advantage is 40% more life expectancy once you get, safety matters. Okay, forgive me, that's number one. But I mean, a huge advantage ROI-wise. I mean, I'm looking at that ROI. People are spending money. Are they buying an 11-year system? No. I mean, so you look at NMC chemistry, and oftentimes they'll offer the number of 4,000 life cycles. That's 10.95 years. So at 10.95 years, if you're buying an NMC lithium product, you're basically at 70% of the original capacity, but your loads are the same. And then it drops like a rock after that. So the truth is when you're buying an NMC battery, you need to about year 11, year 12 be pricing in buying a second battery to replace the one that's dropped like a rock, right? If we're being honest about that, I mean, in my opinion, that matters. And you look at the ROI differential, 8,000 cycles at 80% depth of discharge for lithium iron phosphate, and utilizing the AI technology with the Storz Power system, they're extending that life expectancy close to, north of 20 years. They have a 25-year warranty. I think that's pretty awesome. Those are some differentiators, right? Something that matters, not just, hey, here's a brand, it's real popular. It'll power your whole house. Is that a red flag? talk about that. Warnings, red flags, homeowners, what to look out for, man. We want to help these homeowners.
Yeah. Let me jump on the safety part first, because I actually spent 10 years as a firefighter, so that's a big part of what I talk to my clients about. And any of the mainstream batteries on the market right now, whether that's Storz or Solar Edge or Franklin or whoever, I don't really have a major safety concern with any of those. Yes, lithium iron phosphate is going to be more intrinsically safe, meaning if you had a failure of the system to cool, and also it went undetected and continued to operate, you're not going to have that runaway thermal reaction. But there's so many safety barriers put in place with any of them that I really don't have a huge concern there. What is awesome, and what you talked about there, is the durability of the battery. You're looking at depth of discharge. You can discharge deeper without damaging the battery. You can charge more completely without damaging the battery. You can cycle and microcycle, especially with that AI technology where it's effectively alternating cells to prevent you from prematurely wearing out a portion of the battery. It's extending that warranty. And for a manufacturer to give a 25-year warranty on a battery is almost absurd. You're comparing that to anywhere from 10 to at the most 15 with the other batteries, but what people don't see, and what you brought up, is even the ones that go up to a 15-year warranty, they're not extending their cycle limit when they extend the year. Because people look at the year, they don't look at the cycle. They don't know what a cycle means for the most part. And if you're in a market like California, or if you're in a co-op in Florida where you're running that battery on a daily basis, it's not just an emergency backup. You're going to run through those cycles in 10 years easily, like you mentioned. So being able to extend that warranty, and I don't remember the exact statistic, but even more so than the degradation, what I look at is the reliability. And this is partly on Storz and partly on their partner in Solarc with the inverter. But if I remember correctly, last year they deployed, I don't remember how many thousand total battery units, and they had a total of, I think it was 3. It was either 2 or 3 batteries that got RMA'd total out of thousands of batteries. That blew me away, and that's really what brought us into the fold when we met with them the first time, because throughout all of the other batteries, I've had more than that RMA in a month, pretty frequently. We get batteries that show up with a defect from the distributor or whatever it might be, and to have that quality control where you can put out thousands and thousands of units and have 2 or maybe 3 total that need to be replaced, that's huge, because again, we're building this system for disaster. And in a disaster, it has to work. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no troubleshooting. There's no, the day of a hurricane, you can't call a tech and have them come out and figure out what's going on. It needs to work. It needs to work automatically. And that internal transfer switch that they use in the Solarc inverter, with the 5 millisecond transfer time, where it's actually universal power supply rated. It's not even going to reset your clocks. It's not even going to turn off your computers. It's just, from what I can see and from what I've seen in the industry, and like you, I'm quite a nerd on this stuff. It's the most impressive product that I can give somebody to give them that security and that peace of mind.
You can order Storz Power through Sologent, folks. You can order Storz Power through Sologent. Email me, storage@sologent.net today. Go to sologent.net to find out more. Get connected with us. We can have Storz Power, their team, do a one-on-one training, provide a free one-on-one class of training for you and your sales team so that you can start offering these Storz Power solutions with a 25-year warranty for your customers where you're at. All 50 states, available at Sologent. You can be just like Mike Patterson at Empire Solar and offer customers that amazing 25-year peace of mind. Energy security. I like that. Mike. That is good right there. That is all encompassing, because whether it's economic or it's, intermittence from the grid or whatever, it still all is applicable under that umbrella. Energy security. I love it.
Yeah, that's really our core focus as a business. We founded Empire Solar to be different than everybody else, and we've really focused in on exactly what you just said, providing security, whether that's from a man-made disaster, a natural disaster, or just security from rate hikes and net metering changes. We really just want people to be as independent and self-reliant as they can possibly be. And I think that energy security term is kind of all-encompassing with that.
I know that a majority of the business that we focus on is residential. There's a lot of commercial on the horizon happening right now as well. But you mentioned the capability, UPS capability, less than 5 milliseconds transfer time, an uninterruptible power supply, universal power supply. It's huge. These data centers, these centers full of servers and everything, there are like millions of dollars of batteries and everything backing all this stuff up. They call it, in the standby power world, they call it mission critical systems. Now you come you're a fireman, right? So you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a whole nother market outside of residential and commercial solar, right? For these energy storage solutions. Do you see them?
Oh, absolutely. So I keep bringing up kind of what brought us to Storz. The initial project that actually had me looking at them was the need to build a commercial scale battery for, I can't go into too many details. We'll just call it a large data center. And I needed something that was going to accomplish multiple tasks. First of all, we had to shield them from demand charges with Florida Power and Light, which anytime you're on a three-phase service here, that's tricky. So we needed a large battery for that. But more importantly, for their delicate equipment that they had in there, we needed to protect it from surges, which are a huge factor in Florida. And we needed to basically protect it from an unplanned outage. So we had to come up with a battery that would allow the system to either continue operating or to at least have time to properly and safely shut down without damaging the equipment. We've also been using these batteries in the medical field. Very, very, very few batteries that I've ever seen are willing to certify their use for medical equipment, largely because it's a liability issue. If a battery on your house fails, you don't have air conditioning. Your refrigerator goes bad. If the battery that's powering a nursing home or a hospital or something like that fails, people die. So for them to be willing and able to back it up to certify that this product can be used for medical purposes on the commercial scale, that's huge. We're also working to, offer this product for disaster response we've worked with Storz to implement basically a deployable power station that comes on a truck in a shipping container and becomes a off-grid, all-encompassing power station. Think about a campsite for disaster response where people have to come and live and have some sort of power. Think about a portable field hospital. We're looking at offering that to NGOs to use overseas.
How about firefighters? You're a firefighter in Northern California. We had the disaster in Northern California a couple of years ago. Napa got burned all the way through. Towns were burned, and firefighters, God bless them, from all over the United States, all over the world, frankly, flocked to Northern California to help save Northern California from burning and saving people's lives and property. And I mean, those little way stations, those areas where everybody can regroup, kind of base camps, the ability to provide power in those remote situations to all of the teams trying to save people's lives and property. And I mean, that off-grid, that off-grid power station, energy station that you're talking about, I mean, in that kind of scenario, I mean, as a firefighter, from your perspective, you've been in scenarios where, like, God, I wish we had a power station here. I'm guessing, I'm not a firefighter, but what goes into the thinking of someone who's in the field? What this solution that you partnered with Storz Power to create for this mobile power station for first responders, I mean, amazing. Talk a little bit more about that from your perspective as a firefighter.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I never had to deal with a situation quite like that. I will say that, getting out of a fire, the first thing you want is air conditioning. And I've been through a couple hurricanes here, and all of our stations had big Caterpillar diesel generators. Here's the thing with generators, especially in a humid environment like Florida. The metal corrodes. They require maintenance, and if we're being honest, we all know that there's no government agency on earth that does maintenance the way that they should for their equipment. So they require maintenance. They're prone to failure. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the humidity can sometimes cause water buildup in the fuel, and they have sensors to prevent the engine in the generator from being destroyed, that if it detects enough moisture in that fuel, it just won't let the generator turn on. So couple that now with just the logistics of, you mentioned up in remote areas of, say, California, in the middle of a huge disaster. How much of a logistical burden is that going to be, first of all, to get a portable generator up there and then keep a fuel supply coming to it constantly? I mean, you're fueling the trucks, you're fueling all the equipment, and now you're bringing in hundreds or thousands of gallons of diesel to fuel a generator that may or may not have a malfunction. A big thing with this deployable power plant, as I like to call it, is at its core, it has no moving parts. It's kind of self-reliant. It's using the sun as the fuel. It's creating its own fuel source. And it does have the option to have a built-in generator with a built-in fuel cell as, like a third leg of protection. But even if you were to use that, it's got a significantly lower fuel burn rate because you're only supplementing the production from the solar at this point.
Yes. No, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just excited. Please continue. Like, the amount of fuel burn that people have with generators, especially if they're in totally off-grid situations where they're running base camps or lodges or whatever, cabins constantly on generators 24/7. That fuel burn can be insane. I'm in California. We're paying almost $5 a gallon. I was in Orlando last week, and you guys were, $3.72 or something I saw. So, I mean, nevertheless, multiply that by how many gallons burned just by keeping those things running. That is we're talking a total economic parasite, right? Just constantly burning fuel. That's a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's the economic side, but also just think about the logistics in a disaster. How hard is it to get that fuel?
Right.
If you're the government, if you're the National Guard, you can probably get it, but it's a big strain to get that to where you need to be. Now, let's flip this back to homeowners and private businesses. In the days after a hurricane, and most generators here in Florida are going to be propane powered, if you have a 500-gallon propane tank and you've got a whole home generator, that tank's lasting you a day or two if it was full to begin with. That's a big if. What are the chances in the middle of a disaster that you're going to get a propane company to come to your home and refill that tank every 2 or 3 days for the foreseeable future?
Right.
And then, yes, like you've got the cost issue too. I mean, propane is expensive. Propane has a very low fuel density. You burn a lot of it. It's going to cost you a fortune if you can even get it. Well, guess what happens after the storm? The sun comes back out. There's your fuel source. It's free.
That's something I want to remind y'all of. Our show is called Beyond Emissions. We're not under any illusion that we're eliminating all emissions. Carbon is not a poison. Believe it or not, it's a requirement for life on Earth. We just feel that in this clean energy business that we're in, it's way out of balance. It's way out of balance. Millions of years it took to get that carbon in the Earth, pull it out, burn it once, and then it's gone forever, right? Or energy just changes forms. It never goes away. But nevertheless, I digress. It's no longer available in that way that it took millions of years to compact down, and you're really using it just one time. You only have access to that energy one time, besides the ancillary products and everything produced by petroleum, which are many, so we'll still use oil. But beyond emissions means that we're going to come up with a new way of doing that, because he just said it right there, folks. Ding, 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 ding. The sun comes out. It's free. Okay, you don't burn that gallon of gas and it's gone, and you just use it. It's like renting, right? You rent and then your money's gone. Okay, what did I do with it? It's gone. Now I got to pay it again. That's what we're doing when we're using fossil fuels. That sun, it keeps just producing energy nonstop, day after day after day after day after day, right? And that's the whole point of renewable. I don't mean to talk down to people. I just want to make sure that it's understood that the naysayers that are talking negatively about the renewable energy industry and, see, it doesn't work. It's like, no. I'm sure the very first, car that, the Model T is a lot different, than some of the cars that we have on the road today, like a Tesla, right? It's apples and oranges. And we're going to be a lot further on down the road very, very soon. And we all need to embrace this free giant nuclear reactor in the sky, right, Mike?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those things that you see people get very polarized. You see the people who think that we need to burn no oil whatsoever. And then, especially where we work, mostly in the Southeast, we see a lot of people who get offended thinking we're trying to take away their oil. We're not trying to do anything like that. We're trying to make you self-reliant, and we're trying to give you options, because at the end of the day, my primary concern is that whatever energy source you have, ideally you produced it yourself, so you're not buying it from somebody else. But also we're trying to keep it as domestic as possible. Yes, we produce a lot of oil in the United States, but we still import a lot of oil products, especially if we're making something like a diesel or a jet fuel. And frankly, we're importing that from enemy countries in a lot of cases. So is that a good idea to be funding our enemies? Do we need oil? Absolutely. Do we need solar? Absolutely. Do we need batteries? Absolutely. Do we need nuclear beyond just that giant fusion reactor in the sun up in the sky? Absolutely. At the end of the day, a mix of all sorts of different energy sources, it's what's going to give us the best reliability and the best financial outcome. We need a little bit of everything, or at least that's my view on it.
Yeah, diversification. It's the same reason why you don't put all of your eggs in one basket for your retirement, right? You don't go, okay, all my chips on this stock right here. My entire 401k in this one stock over here. You just don't do that, right? It would be stupid. Be smart. Diversify your energy as a country, as an economy. I agree. You're not wrong, Mike. You're not wrong. Diversification is key in our business, in our economy, in our overall lives, really, if you think about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the only thing I would really add to that is the advantage of something like solar and something like storage is that lets you produce your own energy and be independent. Not many people, if anybody, can drill their own oil out of the ground, refine it into the product they need, and use it at their home. Not many people can, whatever it's going to be, produce hydrogen or dig coal out of their backyard and put it in a boiler and run a steam generator. That's just not feasible for individuals. What you can do is harness that giant nuclear reactor in the sky and produce your own electricity, store your own electricity, and at the end of the day, you're now becoming more independent. You have less people who have control over what you do and how you do it, and that's a very big driving force for us.
Educating you, folks. That's what we're here for. Beyond Emissions Podcast. Mike Patterson, EmpireSolar.us, an amazing company. Check them out online, EmpireSolar.us. Great advice for homeowners. Great advice for us as a nation, how we need to diversify our energy. production, what our sources of energy, making sure we have a diverse, all of the above approach. It's for the health of each and every single sector of that. Also as well, energy security, mission critical systems, battery backup, intermittency, economics. Amazing. We've been helping and advising the homeowner a lot on this call today, Mike. And again, folks, welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast. Mike Patterson, my guest, again, from Empire Solar. Check us out online at solagent.net to find out more. We have Storz Power available here at Solagent that Mike's been talking about. So if you're an installer or a homeowner, you'd like to learn more about that, just reach out to me, storage@solagent.net. We can connect Everett Brewer, my friend over there at Storz, with his team of engineers, and we can get on a training call for you and your team. That's why I'd like to shift this. Let's go ahead and pivot from the homeowner to the installer. What kind of advice, Mike, would you give folks that are getting into the business, thinking about starting their own solar company right now? Selling storage is key, so really solar and storage. But you know, what kind of advice would you give to folks that are trying to think about getting into the industry right now? It's changing and it can be scary, but there's lots of opportunities available, right?
Yeah, no, it's an industry that's going to continue to grow. And what I like to tell people, especially as we're trying to recruit, and we're actively recruiting. So if you're in Florida and looking for a job, please look us up. We're trying to find good people, and we are very picky on ethics and everything like that. But what I like to tell people is this is probably one of the only roles that you can ever have where you will make a good living by saving people money. There's nothing else that I can think of that you're not typically adding an extra cost. You're replacing something, and typically replacing it with a lower cost, and also providing for your family at the same time. So it's really special and unique in that sense. But the advice I would give people who are coming into the industry new, especially given the state of, the market right now, is, have thick skin, tough it out. It's going to get better. Interest rates will come down. The cost of equipment is very much down right now. But, the old school kind of scummy sales tactics don't work anymore. And to me, that's a good thing. What works now is providing people the correct solution and designing it properly and really setting them up rather than just trying to strong arm a sale. So come in, treat your clients like they're your family. Don't do, assuming you like your family anyways, don't do wrong by them, and things will work out. We're fortunate. We're growing very quickly. And it's a steady growth. It's not an exponential growth because we do it this way. Now to pivot, I guess, to the offering batteries, I'm going to say a couple things that might be a little bit controversial here. The first one, and this is mostly directed at markets like California, I do not think selling batteries without backup capability is a good idea.
Yes!
I think the self-consumption battery is very, very short-sighted.
Yes, it is a short-term. I don't know how to sell solar and storage, and it's a short-term. It's a strategy that was designed by people who are not experts at selling storage. They're just folks that wanted to try to come up with some secret sauce and some quick fix sale, right? It's a Band-Aid. Nobody's going to look at a battery on their wall, and when the grid goes down, even if it's once every 2 years, and realize, oh crap, I can't use that. No one's going to spend extra money or borrow extra principal to have a battery that they can't use when the grid goes down. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what I'm hearing. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's like doing 70% of the project. And my concern, and this may be a little bit of a pessimistic view, but my concern is how many people have had these non-backup systems installed that don't actually know that when the power goes out, it's not going to do anything.
Truth.
How many people actually know that?
Truth. That's truth. He's speaking truth. You're speaking truth.
Yeah, I'm very, very worried about that. And then also, again, to pick on California, there's talk of them peeling back NEM 3 right now. So imagine you're a homeowner and you just spent an extra 20 grand on a non-backup battery that gives your home no extra capabilities. And now the policy that required that battery is no longer in effect. You spent an extra 20 grand for nothing. If you got a battery that's protecting your home and fortifying your home and giving you energy security, at least you got that value. And they can't take that away. And if we're being realistic, everywhere that I've seen in the country, it's not just Florida where outages are getting more frequent. The grid is unstable. People are using more and more electricity. And as they're pulling a lot of the legacy power plants offline, that the grid is not as reliable at meeting the needs of the end user. So you're going to see more brownouts. You're going to see more severe weather-related outages, even in unusual places. I was in San Diego a couple months ago, an area that I've talked to plenty of clients, and they tell me, I've lived here for 20 years and I've never had a power outage. I was at a conference. Power went out. The hotel had generators that kicked back on, and, all the red outlets, the mission critical outlets that you call them, came back up. But they had a power outage. They had severe flooding. They've never had anything like that before. So just because you haven't had an outage doesn't mean that you're not going to. And I would bet lots of money that outages will continue to get more frequent, get more severe, get more lengthy. And as more and more people are reliant on electricity as their primary fuel source, the effect of an outage will grow larger and larger. So don't be short-sighted. Don't do a non-backup battery system. If you're going to get a battery, do it the right way. Have a backup system. Have smart load control. Have smart home integration, so you have control over your energy needs and your energy production and your energy storage. The whole point of this is to be independent and to be protected and to have that security. I guess I'll get off my soapbox on that, but that's a topic that I'm pretty passionate on.
You're telling the truth, man. And by the way, talk to people about one of the blessings of, by the way, Storz Power, again, available here at Sologent. If you're installing solar and you're interested in taking advantage of the technology from Storz Power with the 25-year warranty on energy storage for homeowners that Mike Patterson from EmpireSolar.us is offering homeowners. You can get that from us here at Sologent, folks. But talk a little bit about Storz Power's ability to scale as well. You can start small and add on later, and that's not an advantage with some of the other options where they're in really large increments. So if I buy a 13 or 14 kilowatt hour or 10 kilowatt hour battery from one of the competing brands, if I want to add later, some of them don't even allow you to add after a certain amount of time. But even if they do, now I've got to do it in a 10 to 14 kilowatt hour increment. Storz Power allows you to add on, scale on later, grow your system in smaller increments, right, to get to the exact amount of kilowatt hours of storage the customer may need, depending on how their needs change.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very modular. We can basically build you the battery that you need rather than being tied into a larger increment. And I mean, we all know the big name in the game is Tesla, right? And the Powerwall 3, which I'm not a big fan of, not only are you tied to a 13.5 kilowatt hour increment battery, but now you have an integral inverter, meaning that I can't even independently size the inverter based on your solar output. I have to pick my battery size for my inverter size for my solar.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. They're trying to oversimplify something that, to be frank, should not be oversimplified. It's something that it's our job, whether that is on the design side, the consultant side, the engineering side, the install side. This is our job to be experts in. This is our job to know what we're working with and know how to build this and know how to design this and how to size this and how to assemble this and how to install this. To just try to oversimplify it and lose out on a lot of capability is just, it's the easy way out. And we all know the easy way is never the right way.
I know. It's my personal opinion is it's immoral. The only right way to sell storage is goals and energy in versus energy out. It's all math. And the problem is when you oversimplify it by going on a little app and going, I have a 3-bedroom house and 3 people live there and boom, here's what I need to power everything. It doesn't work that way. It never will work that way. No matter how much the market, no matter how much some greedy executive who just wants to make a whole bunch more sales happen, how can we scale this and how fast? A lot of homeowners are getting screwed out there that think they have whole home backup that don't, as an example. Oversized, undersized, all because you have people who are ignorant and don't know what they don't know, which is why, forgive me for the side soapbox here, Mike, but listeners, you don't know what you don't know. And if you're out there just, parroting whatever you heard at a show or on a YouTube video, and you're now thinking, okay, I've got this adder on my sales sheet that I could add one 14 kilowatt hour battery or 2. That's not how you sell storage. It's the wrong way to do it. You're hurting customers doing it that way. And in the long run, it's going to bite you in the behind. I'm telling you, it's the truth. I mean, that's kind of what you're talking about as well. It's all about customization with energy storage, right? To do it the right way, Mike, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't even get me started on those apps where you basically put in your numbers of beds and baths, and it picks one of 4 package sizes and tells you that that's it. The only good thing about those is that it creates further business for us down the road when they have the wrong system size and we have to come add to it.
Right.
That's it. That is so short-sighted, so inaccurate. I mean, I'll give you examples. We have lots and lots of cookie cutter neighborhoods going in around here. And I've had homes literally across the street from each other, mirror image homes, same exact roof, same exact floor plan, same exact, literally the exact same model of home with very, very, very different solar sizes that are appropriate. And the difference is, okay, well, maybe one has 5 people in it and one has 2. Maybe one has somebody who works from home. Maybe one has some necessary medical equipment. Maybe one has a hot tub or a pool, or they drive a Tesla and they need to charge it. There's so many variables that need to be factored in to do this correctly. And honestly, this is probably the second biggest investment that most people make after their home. That should not be simplified. You didn't go on a website and pick one of 4 models of house. You didn't go on there and say, I have 3 kids, and it told you what house to get. You went and picked and went through all sorts of customizations and what works for you and your family. This is even more complicated than that to do it correctly. And for the level of investment that it is so important to be done correctly. So I guess a message of warning to homeowners who are listening, and just as much so a message to consultants out there who are listening. Do it right if you want your career to last and to grow. Do it wrong if you want your reputation to get destroyed. Because what I tell everybody who's new starting for us, batteries can make your career. I said earlier, there's nothing better than the referrals you get after an event where the batteries protect somebody. Batteries can also ruin your career when you just sold somebody a system that's 10, 15, 20 or more $1,000 more than just the solar was, and it didn't do what you said it was going to do. So do it right way. Do it the right way. Do it the right way the first time, and do it the right way every time is my message.
Yes. I wish I could just loop what you said like over and over and over again, Mike. This tail end of this conversation, albeit the whole conversation, I believe, is a valuable, educational opportunity for me, for you discussing, and all the listeners, you guys listening right now. I know we're all learning. But I want to emphasize that the tail end of this conversation is probably the most important thing. The biggest problem in our industry as it pertains to energy storage is it's being sold wrong. Okay. I like I said, I came from a largest battery distributor in North America, sold every kind of battery you could imagine, not just solar. And through all of that, our owner at the time, Brad Strillman, invested in us and brought in top-notch professional sales trainers Debbie DeGroat. She specializes mainly in real estate. But it changed my career. It changed my life, and everyone on our team. It 10x'd our sales. It changed everything. But also the quick get in, get out, make the sale, go close the deal today. Ask all of that wheeling and dealing. That all went away. We learned how to sell as consultants. You're there to advise and consult and ask questions and listen, and then look at your menu of what you have to offer, what will solve that problem, what will help that customer achieve that goal. Energy in versus energy out to properly size it correctly and customize it. And if you do that the right way and then you make the recommendation, you're not selling anything. You're just advising someone. And that approach, doesn't that stand apart, juxtaposed to all of the clipboard holders that are trying to close the deal, sitting at the kitchen table, how many deals can we close, right? That whole attitude, right?
I've never sold a system before. I've never had to. You design the system right. You educate the homeowner on what it can do. You listen to what they want it to do, and you build the system to meet that and show them how it's going to do that. And you demonstrate competency, or even better, you demonstrate, an expert level proficiency in what you're showing them, and you build that trust, and you show them that you're not one of the scumbags that have kind of ruined the reputation of this industry. You don't have to sell anything. They're going to ask you to buy it if it's right for them. And if it's not right for them, you shouldn't be selling it to them anyway.
Right. Get out of sales and get into being advisors, right? Get out of sales.
Amen. Exactly.
Become a consultant. Stop selling. You nailed it. The second that I changed my approach and I stopped selling and I just started becoming an expert advisor that's unbiased, that's just there for them. Wow. Now all of a sudden I'm their friend. Now all of a sudden, they trust me. Now all of a sudden, even if I don't get the sale right away, they know I'm not like tripping out on it. Like, oh my God, instant gratification's not happening. This guy's gone. No, he's still there and he's still willing to answer our questions and help us. And before you know it, they start to trust you and realize that you're just there for them and you have no bias. And then they're ordering stuff from you, but you never had to sell anything. Exactly. It's a long-term success approach, not the quick, how quick can we scale and, get across that kitchen table and what can we do to move the deal? And we're not selling cars, man, or houses. Like you said, this is so much more complex, and we need to be the experts, because the experts are going to be the ones that win and cross that finish line and get the touchdown. And the homeowners, like you're talking about, referrals galore. They want to refer you if you're being that versus the guy who just closed the deal. Wow, the best advice all day long. Mike Patterson with us, empiresolar.us. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your expertise and your knowledge. And I don't mean to, downplay the first segment or first half of the show, but it is my mission to teach people how to properly sell energy storage and solar, how to properly do it. There is a way to do it, and the industry is not doing it correctly. So what you talked about today at the end of this call was such an eye-opener, such a breath fresh of air, man. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Hey, like I said before, I really appreciate the opportunity to get on your show with you, and it was great to meet you last week, and it's not often I get to meet a fellow battery nerd, so I really appreciate that, and looking forward to working together and talking some more and nerding out about this stuff.
Awesome, man. Mike, thank you so much. Mike Patterson, amazing company at Empire Solar, empiresolar.us. He is the chief design engineer at Empire Solar. They specialize in offering Storz Power. That's with a Z. And folks, you can get Storz Power here at Solagent as well. Be like Mike. Contact us today, storage at solagent.net. That's storage at solagent.net. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Real quick before you go, any parting words? I know I gave your website, but do you have a phone number? What's the best way for people to reach you, and any follow-ups that folks might want to follow up with you on?
Yeah. So happy to work with anybody, happy to answer questions, whether that's homeowners or, even just working with other companies that are just getting into the battery game. Feel free to look at our website, empiresolar.us. You can reach me at mike@empiresolar.us. You could try and call me, but I'm in meetings and things like this pretty frequently. But I will get back to you at 813-438-4065. But typically, the first contact, a text or an email, is going to be going to get the quickest response.
Oh, and before we go, job opportunities, folks. It's important in our economy that we're helping each other, not just survive but thrive. And there are opportunities right now available to work with Mike and his team at Empire Solar, right, Mike? What type of opportunities are available that folks might be able to apply for with you?
Yeah, so immediately we're looking to bring on some field personnel to basically work with lead acquisition and basically go out, meet homeowners, talk to them, and ideally try to save them from what I call the door knockers from a lot of the other companies, and just get our name in the door and talk to them and show them what we can do. That would be based out of our Tampa office right now. Once we finish building out this team here, we'll be building out of Orlando, so that'll be coming up fairly soon. So if you're in either of those areas, feel free to reach out. And then don't know exactly when, but coming soon, we'll be building or expanding our presence up in Texas as well. So if you're looking to work with us, you're in those areas, we'd love to talk to you and see if it's a good fit. We do all of our training in-house. I actually sometimes prefer people who don't have solar experience. Yes. But as long as you are a good ethical person and you're able to go and talk to people and be honest with them and build trust and have a little bit of a technical background, that always helps. The only other thing I'll say is a little bit of my pet project. I do very much like working with former firefighters, police officers, military. I know how tough it can be coming back into the normal world. So if you check one of those boxes, we'd love to work with you.
That's awesome. First responders, there's a preference for you and there's a place for you, especially because when you've worked, firefighter, police officer, EMT, police officer, overseas even, doing security and of course, military service. You're seeing things and having to deal with things on a daily basis that most human beings don't even imagine, and from a stress standpoint. So you're resilient. Let's just call it that. You have a level of resilience in you that the average person does not have because of your life experiences, and that can benefit you greatly in an industry like this. In the renewable energy industry. So I agree with you. Folks, if you're looking for a great place to work as well, contact Empire Solar. Go to empiresolar.us today. Mike Patterson, thanks so much for coming on the Beyond Emissions podcast, my friend. Hang on the line for our engineers, and I'll be right with you.
All right. I appreciate it.
empiresolar.us. They specialize in offering Storz Power solutions for their energy storage packages. And like I said, we've had Everett Brewer, the CEO of Storz Power, on the Beyond Emissions podcast below. Storz Power was a sponsor of our Solarbration party, where we bowled and had a blast at Inner Solar down in San Diego. So fantastic partner as well. We have Storz Power solutions available right here at Solagent. So reach out to us at solagent.net to find out more. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Brum, Energy Storage Manager here at Solagent and host of the Beyond Emissions podcast. Solagent, your clean energy solution provider since 1979.